Verses 14 to 51. The Levites being granted to Aaron to minister to him, they are here delivered to him by tale, that he might know what he had, and employ them accordingly. Observe. By what rule they were numbered, every male from a month old and upward, v. 15. The rest of the tribes were numbered only from 20 years old and upwards, and of them those only that were able to go forth to war, but into the number of the Levites they must take in both infants, and infirm, being exempted from the war. It was not insisted upon that they should be of age and strength for the wars. Though it appears afterwards that little more than a third part of the Levites were fit to be employed in the service of the tabernacle, about 8,000 out of 22,000, ch. 447, 48, yet God would have them all numbered as retainers to his family, that none may think themselves disowned and rejected of God because they are not in a capacity of doing him that service which they see others do him. The Levites of a month old could not honor God and serve the tabernacle, as those that had grown up, yet out of the mouths of babes and sucklings the Levites' praise was perfected. Let not little children be hindered from being enrolled among the disciples of Christ, for such was the tribe of Levi, of such is the kingdom of heaven, that kingdom of priests. The redemption of the firstborn was reckoned from a month old, ch. 18:15, 16, therefore from that age the Levites were numbered. They were numbered after the house of their fathers, not their mothers, for, if the daughter of a Levite married one of another tribe, her son was not a Levite, but we read of a spiritual priest to our God who inherited the unfeigned faith which dwelt in his mother and grandmother, 2 Tim 1:5. How they were distributed into three classes, according to the number of the sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohat, and Merari, and these subdivided into several families, v. 17:20. 1. Concerning each of these three classes we have an account of their number. The Gershonites were 7,500. The Kohathites were 8,600. The Merarites were 6,200. The rest of the tribes had not their subordinate families numbered by themselves as those of Levi. This honor God put upon his own tribe, of their post about the tabernacle on which they were to attend. The Gershonites pitched behind the tabernacle, westward, v. 23. The Kohathites on the right hand, southward, v. 29. The Merarites on the left hand, northward, v. 35. And, to complete the square, Moses and Aaron, with the priests, encamped in the front, eastward, v. 38. Thus was the tabernacle surrounded with its guards, and thus does the angel of the Lord encamp round about those that fear him, those living temples, PS 34:7. Every one knew his place, and must therein abide with God. Of their chief or head. As each class had its own place, so each had its own prince. The commander of the Gershonites was Eliasaph, v. 24, of the Kohathites Elizaphan, v. 30, of whom we read, Leviticus 10:4, that he was one of the bearers at the funeral of Nadab and Abihu, of the Merarites Zuriel, v. 35. Of their charge, when the camp moved. Each class knew their own business, it was requisite they should, for that which is everybody's work often proves nobody's work. The Gershonites were charged with the custody and carriage of all the curtains and hangings and coverings of the tabernacle and court, v. 25, 26, the Kohathites of all the furniture of the tabernacle, the ark, altar, table, etc. v. 31, 32, the Merarites of the heavy carriage, boards, bars, pillars, etc., v. 36, 37. Here we may observe that the Kohathites, though they were the second house, yet were preferred before the elder family of the Gershonites. Besides that Aaron and the priests were of that family, they were more numerous, and their post and charge more honorable, which probably was ordered to put an honor upon Moses, who was of that family. Yet, the posterity of Moses were not at all dignified or privileged, but stood upon the level with other Levites, that it might appear he did not seek the advancement of his own family, nor to entail any honors upon it either in church or state. He that had honor enough himself coveted not to have his name shine by that borrowed light, but rather to have the Levites borrow honor from his name. Let none think contemptibly of the Levites, though inferior to the priests, for Moses himself though it preferment enough for his sons to be Levites. Probably it was because the family of Moses were Levites only that in the title of this chapter, which is concerning that tribe, v1, Aaron is put before Moses. The sum total of the numbers of this tribe. They are computed in all 22,000, v39. The sum of the particular families amounts to 300 more. If this had been added to the sum total, the Levites, instead of being 273 fewer than the firstborn, as they were, v43, would have been 27 more, and so the balance would have fallen the other way, but it is supposed that the 300 which were struck off from the account when the exchange was to be made were the firstborn of the Levites themselves, born since their coming out of Egypt, which could not be put into the exchange, because they were already sanctified to God. But that which is especially observable here is that the tribe of Levi was by much the least of all the tribes. Note, God's part in the world is too often the smallest part. His chosen are comparatively a little flock. Here is the exchange made of the Levites for the firstborn. The firstborn were numbered from a month old, v42, 43. Those certainly were not reckoned who, though firstborn, had become heads of families themselves, but those only that were under age, and the learned Bishop Patrick is decidedly of opinion that none were numbered but those only that were born since their coming out of Egypt, when the firstborn were sanctified, ex 13:2. If there were 22,000 firstborn males, we may suppose as many females, and all these brought forth in the first year after they came out of Egypt, we must hence infer that in the last year of their servitude, even when it was in the greatest extremity, there were abundance of marriages made among the Israelites. They were not discouraged by the present distress, but married in faith, expecting that God would shortly visit them with mercy, and that their children, though born in bondage, should live in liberty and honor. And it was a token of good to them, an evidence that they were blessed of the Lord, that they were not only kept alive, but greatly increased, in a barren wilderness. The number of the firstborn, and that of the Levites, by a special providence, came pretty near to each other. Thus, when he divided the nations, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel, do. 32:8. Known unto God are all his works beforehand, and there is an exact proportion between them, and so it will appear when they come to be compared. The Levites' cattle are said to be taken instead of the firstlings of the cattle of the children of Israel, that is, the Levites, with all their possessions, were devoted to God instead of the firstborn and all theirs, for, when we give ourselves to God, all we have passes as appurtenances with the premises. 3. The small number of firstborn which exceeded the number of the Levites, 273 in all, were to be redeemed, at 5 shekels apiece, and the redemption money given to Aaron, for it would not do well to have them added to the Levites. It is probable that in the exchange they began with the eldest of the firstborn, and so downward, so that those were to be redeemed with money who were the 273 youngest of the firstborn, more likely so than either that it was determined by lot or that the money was paid out of the public stock. The church is called the church of the firstborn, which is redeemed, not as these were, with silver and gold, but, being devoted by sin to the justice of God, is ransomed with the precious blood of the Son of God.